November. Bishop has asked all the retiring elders to carry on into the planning meeting until he can get through with the series of annual conferences. So there will be more moves during mid-year. We don't know if the planning meeting, don't know if it's going to be in person or Zoom or whatever, but that's November the 16th through the 19th. So we thank y'all, and hopefully this year will be another spiritually filled year. And I'll make this announcement now, as well as the church service. I realized that in my quest to make this year or last year as easy as possible on the congregants, on each and every one of you, as we went through the pandemic, I also realized crippling congregation, because I took over a lot of the stuff that was being done on a day-to-day basis for the church, because I wanted the congregation to concentrate on their spirituality and just getting through this pandemic. Well, this year we're going to make a slight change, and we want to hit the ground working. So I will be reaching out to individual people about certain stuff that I would like them to do at the church, because I want to make sure, for some reason, that Bishop ever moves me when the next pastor comes in, the church is already running, and he just has, or he or she will not have to carry a heavy load because it's running like a well-oiled machine. So just stay in prayer that we're able to get back to pre-COVID, because that's what we were doing pre. When COVID came, we kind of took a different route. We kind of slowed down and cruise control, so we could get through. So once again, we thank you all again. One other announcement: on Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be rendering service. So I will be preaching for Pastor Dudley's Pastor's Appreciation, Mount Zion. So please join us. It is in-person service. So please join us Saturday, 6 p.m. if you can.
It is what?
Mount Zion.
I mean, is it virtual?
No, it's
in person.
Yeah.
What month? This month?
Saturday. Yes, ma'am. This Saturday. So let us dig into our lesson this morning. And as Brother, I don't know why Brother McKay does this, me, our superintendent. And I know he does it because he has to. I have every intention of teaching on what is said in the lesson, Brother McKay. Then you reread the scripture and I hear it. So it pops up and pops out. And so let's do it this way. We're going to do a combination. We're going to kind of touch on some of the parts of the lesson and look at some of the stuff in the Bible itself. Today's lesson is glorifying God. For those of you that are on the conference line, this is still interactive. Please take yourself off mute if you have a comment, as well as the various streaming channels. Are we live? Yes. You see that? Okay. If your sister Linda is monitoring the chat, so you can post your chat in that. Glorifying God. Glorifying God is the lesson for today. Our introduction says physical and spiritual blindness are on display in the lesson. One is obvious and readily acknowledged. The other is unnoticeable and unacknowledged. For Jesus is the source of healing. His purpose is doing so to glorify God. Jesus in today's lesson is concluding the last 3 months of his earthly ministry. He and the disciples and are traveling through Jericho to Jerusalem for the Passover celebration. This will be Jesus' final trip to Jerusalem before he is crucified. However, as they are leaving the city of Jericho, they are unexpectedly interrupted by Bartimaeus, a man with physical blindness who cries out to Jesus for mercy. So that is the introduction, and the introduction actually says a mouthful, because when we look at our text, they came to Jericho as he and his disciples had a large crowd were leaving Jericho. Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting by the roadside. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout out and say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Something struck me when Brother McKay was reading just them two scriptures. One, the man could not see, right? But when the crowd was passing, he heard it was Jesus. So that tells me right there, just because we have physical issues, just because we have some things going on, it shouldn't stop us from knowing who Jesus is. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't stop us from knowing, just because we're spiritually blind doesn't mean we should be spiritually dead too. And some of us are in a situation where we're spiritually blind and spiritually dead only by choice. This young man, blind from birth or whatever it was, he still was sitting in the same place every day, doing the same thing, begging every day. He probably sat there every day, asking people for money, asking people for, just asking people. And then he heard the crowd. As you know, during that time, people were speaking and probably was asking Jesus stuff right then. So when he heard the crowd and maybe started begging or started asking, what's all the commotion? Somebody said it's Jesus of Nazareth. So he cried out. He cried out to Jesus for help. I think it dawned on me. You know, we're always asking, or always contemplating about helping people out. We're always trying to figure out, should we give money to someone that's begging? Should I give, should I help them with what they're asking for? And I realized one thing. Sometimes the best thing to give is the Lord. All right? Because think about it. When Peter and when Paul, Peter, and when they went up to the temple, and the young man stopped and asked them for gold and money. They said, gold and silver I don't have, but what I do have is this. Get up and walk. See, sometimes we got to realize while we're contemplating on giving stuff to people, sometimes we got to go to the Lord and say, Lord, what should I do for this? And sometimes it is easily as this. I don't have it to give. But what I do have, prayer. What I do have is this prayer, because that's what we have to give sometimes. Now, I'm not saying every time it comes up to ask you, I remember what Reverend Dunn said, I'm just going to pray for you. No, I'm not saying that. But sometimes when we are in a dilemma, fighting with ourselves on whether to give or not to give, sometimes the best thing to do is give prayer. And I'm not talking about just praying with Lord. I'm talking about reaching out and praying. I'm talking about while the light is red, you call them over and say, I don't have nothing to give, but let me offer this prayer. Let me pray with you for a second. And again, I tell you, while you're praying, the Lord will guide you in what to do. And you might, after prayer, not have no intention, Brother RJ, to give them something. And lo and behold, you to reach down and pull out a $5 bill and gave it. Yes, ma'am.
Can it be my time or my talent too?
Yes. Right. Our time, our talent. And to kind of go even further on that, what I was looking at the time, at a light or sometimes we can't give our talent. Well, actually, we're giving our time and our talent then, because all of us have the talent to pray. We have the talent to ask God to intercede. And we take the time out to do that while we're at the light. We turn turn our radio down because you know some of us when we get to the light we got to go through all our texts and Facebook and all of that before we pull off. So it's giving of our time and our talent just at that point. Sometimes when we're going in the stores, right? Yeah, we're in a rush, but it's that time that we take away and say, okay, I'm going to help in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't have it, but what I do have is this. On the flip side of that, as we get into this, some of us deal with physical and spiritual blindness. Some of us deal with physical issues, but don't let that physical issue interfere with your spiritual well-being. Don't let your inability to walk stop you from coming to church, right? You can still roll to the church because you roll into the stores, you roll into the. It don't stop you from doing other stuff. Don't let your physical blindness stop you from going to church. You might not be able to go to the church you used to go to, but there's other churches that caters to people with certain issues, physical issues. And there's no doubt, and I tell you this, if we had one of our members to end up with physical blindness, we're going to do everything we can to get braille Bibles or now you have to accommodate them so they won't feel left out. I don't know sign language, but we'll learn sign language or get somebody in here if we had members that the Lord took their hearing from them language. So we can't allow our physical ailments to interfere with our spiritual worship. But we'll allow the devil to get in our ear and say, well, because you ain't physically able, you're not spiritually worthy. And we see that's not the case. So we see this physical and spiritual blindness. One man is physically blind, which is Bartimaeus. The disciples and everybody else is spiritually blind of the situation. They're so focused on getting to Jerusalem. They're so focused on getting to the party. They're so focused on getting to the Passover that they ignore someone in need. Some of us are just like that. We are so spiritually blind that we focus on the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. We focus on the wrong thing. We're so caught up on getting to work on time and it left early enough with it on time anyway. But you know, Sister McKay, it takes 30 minutes to get my leave in 25 minutes. Then get mad when there's a slow person in front of us. We get mad when the light hits us. If we would have left in enough time, we would have been there. But some of us are in so much of a hurry that we ignore spiritual people that is in search of spiritually needed help. And some of it is physical, but when they're in physical need, you know it's spiritual need too. So when we look at this going on into this introduction as we move on, Jesus is on his way to death. Jesus is on his way to the cross. But yet and still he had time to heal someone. And not only that, not to heal him, but he had time to listen to him. He had time to say, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? Sometimes all it takes is a second or two to listen to the needs of the people. Listen to the needs of someone that is coming in contact with you. And I'm going to do it this way. Sometimes for us so-called seasoned saints, all it takes is time to listen to the youth. Just listen to what they're saying. Just listen to their wants and needs. But on the flip side of that, I need to tell our youth distance both of them. Right? When you have that opportunity, speak what you know and know what you speak. In other words, if you know it's something that you want, and maybe this to everybody, Brother RJ, because we put sometimes I do it too, Sister Taylor. When somebody's asking what is the need, don't beat around the bush. Tell what the need is right then and there. As we know, Bartimaeus, when Jesus, what is it that you want? He didn't beat around the bush. Well, Jesus, it's been rough. I've had some good days. I had some bad days. I hear all day long, and the people walk by, Bro Rivers, and I ask them for some people spit on me. Some people try to creep by me so I won't hear them. They do all this. And Jesus will be sitting there, okay, what is it that you need? We do that. We do that. Every time, and it's bad. It's bad. When kids call me or text me and say, Dad, how you doing? The first thing in my mind is, what you want? But I don't say that. I let them go through their whole spiel. Then, after a while, I'll be, okay, what is it you need? And sometimes nothing. I just want to know how you doing. All right. Now, Precious, she didn't get to the point where when Precious texts me, she gonna text me exactly, Dad, wait, I need this. Dad, I want you to do this. Dad, what you think about this phone? What you think? She gets to the point. And that's what we have to do because time is money. And money is. And want people to respect our time, we should respect other people's time. So sometimes it is getting, what is it that for you? Eyesight. I need a healing. When we go to the doctor sometime and we're in so much pain, and the doctor asks where it hurts right here. Where does it hurt, doctor? It hurts all over. I don't know where it hurts. What you need, I need this pain to stop. We don't go to a long spiel until they may ask for what happened to get you. Well, what did you do? Doctor, I woke up and it was hurting. That's all I know. That's all I know. So we see, he asked immediately. And I'm going to do it this way. When we go to the Lord, go knowing what it is you need. You don't know what you need. Don't sugarcoat the Lord. I don't know what it is that I need right now. But what I do know is I need you to move in my life. Sometimes we know we can spend money. We know what light bill do. And we go to the Lord, well, Lord, I come to you as humbly as I know how. Lord, I ain't always been right. Lord, these bills and this devil is always showing up, and I need you to show up. No, Lord, I spent the money. I messed up. Lord, I need you to help me with this life somehow. I need help. I messed up. I knew the bill would do. I knew it was due. I knew it was, but it was this pretty boat that was right there. I didn't need it. Look good and it cast it. So Lord, I messed up. Lord, thank you. By the way, I need you to bless it, Lord, because I'm going to get out on the river and sing. But Lord, Bartimaeus knew exactly what he needed. He knew exactly what he needed and wanted. So he spoke. When we look at telling the Bible story, it says Jesus had prepared the disciples for what lies ahead in Jerusalem. But they still focus on belief that Jesus' life and power will be dedicated to overturning the Roman government. Competitiveness for more power existed among the disciples. Just before they arrived in Jericho, James and John asked for seats on either side of Jesus. when he comes into his glory. Jesus, however, reiterates his mission and the purpose for his ministry. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom. Subsequently, Bartimaeus is encountered. The reason why I kind of before, why I mentioned about the spiritual blindness. A lot of us, when we go to Jesus, we go to him because of power. We go to him because we want to be well known. All right. So we go to him just like what James and John did. Jesus, when you come into your power, remember me. How many of us make that joke to people? When you become famous, just remember little old me. You know, we tell politicians that come down here, you get elected. Remember who got elected. Right? And sometimes it's in a joke, but other times it's because we got in our mind, who when they elected, I could get some from it. Oh, when they become famous and get this money, I could get me some money. When Jesus in power, I could become the power. And what to realize is this right here. We got to still have that humble spirit. Because even if they don't remember us, I'm okay. Because Jesus does. Even if they don't help me, I'm okay. Because Jesus does. But what is, even if Jesus don't bless me in the way I want to, I'm still all right. Because he has blessed me before. Mm-hmm. Even if he doesn't cure me from my blindness, I'm okay. Because he cured me from something else. Even if he doesn't heal my body from cancer, I'm still okay. Because he's blessed me to get up. So we have to realize that with this humble spirit, it's one of them things that elevate us past a lot of stuff. It will elevate us past a lot of hurt. Because we are not coming to be served. We are coming to serve. And when I'm coming to, sometimes in that service, people will not always appreciate what you're doing. Right? All of us have worked before. All of us have went through something where we did something for somebody else. In our minds, we had the reaction that they were going to give. In our minds, we knew the thank yous that we were going to get. And when it was like they didn't even notice it. They didn't appreciate it. They didn't acknowledge it. Does that mean we stop? No. As Jesus said, when you go into some house and you're not received, you shake off the dirt and you keep going. You keep going. You keep doing what you're doing. And the next time you're around, you still help them, but you know who they are. I already know, yes, I'm going to help you because you're a child of God. And because you're a child, we still are spiritually brothers and sisters. So I'm going to help you because you're my spiritual family. But just because I'm helping you doesn't mean I got to deal with you. I'm going to help you, and sometimes the help is I'm not giving you the money that you asked for. I'm going to pray for you. Sometimes the help is not physically going to pick you up. I'm going to pray for you. And sometimes, yes, I'm going to physically come and pick you up, but when you get out of my car, I'm going to shake off the dirt, and I'm going to keep going because I already know you might not thank me. But guess what? It's not about you. I've done what he's asked me to do. I'm turning him over. I'm turning you over because I've done what I had to do. So we see here that the disciples were so focused on their own well-being that they didn't realize somebody in need. And can I say this? We're not talking about folk that didn't know Jesus. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about folk that didn't see Jesus do stuff, miracles. Because to Jairus' daughter, they stopped and Jesus asked, somebody touch me, my spirit, my soul, my energy just left me. Who touched me? And what did the disciples say? I don't know. All these people around you, Jesus, how am I supposed to know that? And he said, somebody. And the lady came up and he stopped right then and told her she was healed. He took the time to deal with her when there was another pressing issue that he was getting to. And then when he got to that pressing issue, he raised Jairus' daughter. So the disciples have told Jesus take the time to see, heal about any and everybody. But they were so focused on their own glory. They were so focused on their own story. They were so focused on their own power that it wasn't about Jesus no more. It was about them. Because even though Jesus said all of this stuff, he still won't save us from this temple. He's still going to go and wreak havoc. They still didn't realize Jesus was. And that's the thing about us sometimes. We still don't realize who Jesus is. We still don't realize that he can heal us and still heal somebody else. Don't realize he gave us while he's saving somebody else. And the reason why I say we don't realize who Jesus is because when somebody else is getting blessed, we're getting mad because he's not blessing us. We think because they got the blessing, I'm not going to get the blessing. We think just because Sister Brett got the job, the promotion, I'm not going to get a promotion. I'm not going to get a job. And that's not the case. They didn't stop jobs when they gave Sister Brett that job. They didn't stop making Walmart and Burger Kings and McDonald's and all that. They made more. So the same way he blessed them, he will bless us. So what do? We thank God for still being in the blessing business. Because Lord, if you bless them, I know you're still down here blessing. Lord, if you heal them, I know you're still down here healing. Lord, if you save them, I know you still save them. So I still have hope. I still have something to look forward to. Because if you did, and as a matter of fact, watch this. If you did it for somebody on the block, that means, Lord, you're in my neighborhood. So I know I'm okay. Because you're in the area. So it is just like when we had heard, and we heard about people food trucks or vendors coming to help. And if they were in Panama City or somewhere, we were kind of getting discouraged because they were far off. But when we heard they were somewhere in the area, we didn't care how far, we were able to get there because they were in the area. When the vaccination started to come, when it was in others, we were kind of like, Lord, what about us? But when it got in the area, we started to feel okay. Because help was on the way. And somebody is getting blessed in the area, we're okay. Because help is on the way. But some of us are so focused on our own that we don't realize help is in the area. We just want help to be right there at our doorstep so we ain't got to go nowhere. We want the blessing to be at our fingertips so we ain't got to move to get it. And And what we don't realize, faith without works is dead. Sometimes we got to work to get the blessing. Sometimes we got to work to get to the blessing. The disciples were so focused on their self that they didn't really recognize who Jesus was. And we go a little bit further in the text or in the lesson, I think it says that you can tell they didn't know who Jesus was because they deserted him at the cross. They were still, again, focused on their own will. If we come to serve and not be served, sometimes we don't focus on our own well-being to help somebody else out. Bro, Rivers, I just got my hair done. I can't be out changing no tie in the rain. How much this hairdo cost? How much it costs? I can't be out there. Bro, can't in the rain. You know how long it took me to do this? I can't be out there helping them change no tie. I just got these shoes. I can't be out there walking in the mud to help you. I can't do that. We so focused on our well-being and our own personal image that we don't want to get a little dirty to help somebody else out. Not realizing somebody else got dirty to help us. Somebody else got out in the rain to help change that tire. Somebody else traveled miles and miles and miles to come see about us. And they were tired. They were weary. They were sad. But they knew about Jesus. If I go to see about them, Jesus is going to come and see about me. So we get to this right here. And he stopped at any time. We see right here Bartimaeus cried out for mercy. Begging was Bartimaeus' vocation. That was his job. He most likely sat by this busy roadside and begged every day. Occupants in this economy required physical movement and labor that people with physical blindness could not perform. It is obvious that Bartimaeus had heard of Jesus and had faith in power. Note that Bartimaeus refers to Jesus as the son of David and as rabbi or teacher. Son of David referred to Jesus' divinity and role. Referring to Jesus as rabbi indicates acknowledgement of Jesus as a religious authority to be respected as God's spokesperson. Although he is rebuked from making noise as he sees Jesus' attention, as he seeks Jesus' attention, Bartimaeus persists. He is determined to get Jesus' attention. What right about this is even though he was blind, even though he sat at the same place every day, doing the same exact, Jesus still came by. Even though we're in a position, we're doing the same thing at the same place, at the same day, every time, doesn't mean Jesus is not going to eventually walk by. Not going to mean Jesus is not going to eventually show his presence in our lives. Matter of fact, can I say this? A lot of us were doing the same thing day in and day out. And Jesus came and we reached out. And now we're in the place in the church like we are now. Some people have you heard stories of people are saying that I was in the club and while I was in the club, something hit me and I realized I had to get out of there and I never stepped foot back in the club again because I went to church and got saved. And since that day, I've been living for the Lord because Jesus came to them. Which means this right here. Mother to the motherless. Jesus is sending us to be that mother. Father to the fatherless. He's sending us to be that father. Friend to the friendless. He's sending us to be that friend. And sometimes we got to go where they are. We got to go to that place. And if we're saying that I can't do that, I'm too tired. I ain't got enough gas. I can't do it. I don't know the way. Jesus is not going or leading us to that place. And because he's not leading us, or because you're not being led by the Spirit is not leading you no more. See, in order for us to get blessed, this is me, in order for us to get blessings, there are some places we have to go. There's some work we have to do. And we're led by the Spirit and do it. When the Spirit is leading us to go bless us, because we know Sister Sims is doing okay, but she's right at that last step, and she needs a little push to get over the hump. And we help push to get her over the hump. As we were led by the Spirit to help her, the Spirit will lead us into prosperity, because it's going to lead us in a place of happiness. But on that way, Sister, when he was leading us, he led us to help someone. But guess what? We didn't want to go help. So now we're still stuck. And we're wondering why we can't get our blessing. It's because you take the necessary steps to get it. It's just like with these PPP loans or whatever the loans were called. If you did the necessary steps to get it, why are you mad? Because you didn't take the necessary steps to get it. How can you get mad if they don't allow you to vote? Steps to qualify to vote. You can't just sit at your house and say, I'm going to go vote, and go vote. There are some stuff you have to do. How can you get mad when the people fail you for a driving test when you didn't go prepare yourself for a driving test? I've been driving my whole life. I ain't got to take no test. I know how to drive. And you go down there, sit at that computer, and get 3 questions about everything you did wrong in driving. You can't get mad because you didn't prepare yourself for it. How can you get mad when the person that showed up to work every day, when the person did put in the extra hours, when the person did everything they had to do to get the position, but just because you were there longer than them, you ought to expect you was going to get it. You didn't do the work. How can you get mad when you didn't get it? I know the flip side of that. Some of us there every day. Some of us do everything we're supposed to do. And that no good soul show up late that point out everything about everybody at the position that we thought we deserved. Right? Let me tell you, don't worry about that, because in our humble servant spirit, I didn't come to serve. I didn't come to be served. I came to serve. So just because you got that one, that means I'm excited because the Lord has better for me. That's that humble spirit. I didn't get that, and I thought I wanted it. So now I'm excited, Sister Anderson, because the Lord has something big for me. And let me just do this, and we're going to touch, and because I'm not telling you something I heard. When I first got ordained, when I first got ordained, or actually leading up to my ordination, I was told I got something for you. There's some churches that are open that I'm considering you for. Some congregations come. We've already put in for you. Well, that night at the annual conference, after my ordination, my name wasn't written. It would be. Not only that, after I've been helping the congregation out, going every Sunday to commune that congregation, going every Friday to preach at that church. So I knew, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, Sister Britt, I was going to that church. Lo and behold, the Lord was working some things for me to get to bigger and better. He was working some things out. And that night came and the appointments was ready. And my name was nowhere to be called. At that point, I asked myself, do I still really want to preach in the AME Church? Because I don't want to be nowhere that people promises me stuff and then don't deliver. And then don't have the courage to look at me and explain why it didn't happen. Because if I promise somebody that it doesn't happen, I should explain to them why. That's my problem. But the thing is, what I realized is, but then allow to do it. They wanted to, they had every intention to, but the Lord wouldn't allow them to. Because what the Lord had me is bigger and better. So I sat there, Sister McChapel, wondering, contemplating, and the Lord told me, don't worry about it. Everything will be all right. Don't worry about it. I had convinced myself, well, I'm okay. You're right, Lord. It's not, my time is not yet. So I'm fine with where I'm at. And if it's 2 years from now, I'm fine. I got down to mid-year, and I'm a planning meeting, and Elder Davis talked to me, and it's like, you've been carrying on heaven in one of our other churches. He said, I got something for you, but I'm not sure if it's going to be this year. He said, just bear with me, I got something. We're working on something, and I don't know how to play out, but are you ready to pastor? I said, Elder, whatever the Lord has for me, He has for me. That was in November. That was, mid, planning meeting is right before, and right before Thanksgiving. When did I show up at McChapel that first Sunday in December? From that time, from annual conference, that was in September. The Lord had worked it out to where He had something for me. But I had to be patient, Brother RJ. I had to realize that it wasn't about me and my wants. Because I was the Lord, when I said I've been a tenor, I'll go wherever you send me. I didn't say that I had to be chosen. I will go. And because I was faithful to Him, and because I allowed the Spirit to lead me, the Spirit in here. That's why I don't take what we do lightly. I was wondering when you was going to go get it. Why I don't take what I do lightly. Because we got to realize it's not about us. Bart showed up at the same place every day. Showed up. Wasn't really probably looking to be blessed. Wasn't looking to be healed. But when he heard the crowd saying Jesus is coming, that was his opportunity. That was his time. He couldn't see, but the Lord granted him with hearing so he could hear about the good works that the Lord had did. So when he heard, and this is how you know he knew exactly who Jesus was, because he called Son of David. So I already know who this man is. A lot of us know exactly who Jesus is, but we want to call out when it's time. How many of us have you invited people to a program or somebody? Well, let me do it this way. Somebody has invited you to a church service, and you're tired. You really don't, but you went away. And when you got there, it was a movement in your spirit. When you got there, it was a releasing of the chains that was holding you back. And the first thing you had, because you had to just say, I wasn't going to say nothing, but I wasn't going to come tonight. I was tired, but something told me to come. And I'm glad because Jesus walked by at night and saw about you. Bartimaeus, when Jesus walked by, other people was telling him not to shout. Other people was telling him to hush up. But can I tell you, when it comes to Jesus and saving your soul, son, nobody should be able to shut you up. When it comes to Jesus and him blessing you, nobody should be able to stop you. When it comes to Jesus singing about you, there's nothing that should stand in your way. The problem is we allow too much to stand in our way. We allow family members. I'm getting into my sermon today. We allow family members. We allow money. We allow jobs. We allow cars. We allow all of this stuff to get in our way. And it's sad nowadays with our younger generations. We allow hairdos and eyelashes to get in the way. Because I got to go get my eyelashes put on Sunday. I can't come to church because I got to look good Monday. Not realizing that me can't fix everything. We allow it to get in the way of the Lord coming singing about us. But Bartimaeus did not allow any of that to happen. Even, watch this. Well, watch this. I got to do it this way. It was the church folk. It was the disciples. It was the apostles. It was the one Jesus was going to tell to go baptize, to go heal, to go evangelize. Was the ones that was telling this man to be quiet. Our problem is this right here. It's the church folk that's the one that walks in. You're not dressed right. You need to leave. It's the ones on the inside that's telling the ones that's walking in. You don't look right. You need to leave. You don't sound right. You need to leave. You don't fit in right here. You need to leave. This is an AME church. This means African Methodist Episcopal. You white, you don't need to be here. You Mexican, you don't need to be here. And that's not the case. It's the folks on the inside that's not allowing those on the outside to come in. And when they come in, they're trying to do is get closer to the Lord. All they're trying to do is get to this altar, say, Lord, I need you to heal me. Lord, I'm spiritually blind. I need to see. Lord, I'm physically sick. I need to be healed. But we're not allowing them to even get to that point because we're looking at them up and down. We're looking up sideways. They can't even get to that point of altar call or to the invitation to discipleship because we've already taken them out of the church with our looks, with our snickering, with our pointing. It was the disciples that tried to keep this man from his healing. It was the disciples. So on the two things. Then I'm going to close this thing out. Two things. One, we can't be like the disciples in this case. Whoever comes, let them come. If it's a little suffering, it's the old, whoever it is, let them come. White, black, red, green, yellow, turquoise. Let them come. For alien walking this door, I know all of us gonna shout, but let them come. because they need saving too. They planet might need Jesus too, because they might have some stuff going on, Brother RJ, that he had to get out of there. Let them come. The second part, do not allow looks. Do not allow people pointing. Do not allow people talking about you to stop you from getting your praise on. Do not let people in the way they act stop you from worshiping. Do not let people and their ideologies, their way let's just do it this way. Do not let peace stop you from getting blessed. Do not. Bartimaeus did not allow the church folk to stop him from being a follower of Christ. Amen. See, church folk will try to stop you. True followers will lead you. Amen. Don't let the church folk stop you from being a follower of Christ. Because when Jesus said, "Who called me?" And watch this, Jesus knew to see, but he kept talking. Because he said, who is it? Recording started. Come to me. Right. Sometimes we're so spiritually and blind that we can't see. Jesus is talking to us, so we still know the way to go. He's still putting us closer to him. Bartimaeus couldn't see. Have you ever thought of this? How can a man not see and still get it? It's because he was listening to the word. He was listening to Jesus. How do we get closer to the Lord? Sometimes we got to put our spiritual blinders on of the gossip, from the people looking at us, from the people talking about us, and we just focus on the word. And I'm just walking toward Jesus. I ain't got to see you. I'm walking toward Jesus. I ain't even got to hear you. I hear Jesus. He walked toward Jesus, and when he got to the point where Jesus said, "Okay, you're here. What is it that you need?" I need sight. You've got through the people looking at you crazy up and down. You got through them pointing at you. You've got through all of that, and now the doors of the church are open. I'm with him because that's the point. The word helped me. The word got me here. The word that helped me, and as the preacher preaching, I was physically on that back row, but spiritually I kept moving up. Spiritually I kept moving up. And it got to the point when the doors of the church were open, I didn't even realize I was already up there physically. Because it was the word that got me here. It wasn't the folks, it was the word that got me here. And when I got here, I already told Jesus, "Here I am. Lord, I am broken inside. Lord, I am a sinner. I need to be saved by your grace. Lord, I am blind. I need to see." And watch this. What Jesus said, your faith has given you your sight. Right? I have given you your sight. Your faith has given you your sight. Our faith, it moves Jesus. Our faith in him is what heals us. Our faith in him is what sees about us. And one thing I think about is this right here. When we look at them three Hebrew boys, and they Nebuchadnezzar telling them, "You got to bow down to me. I'm going to throw you in the fiery furnace." It was their faith that got them out. Watch this. They were faithful enough to know this. Even if the Lord doesn't save us, I'm not bound to you. Even if the Lord doesn't heal me, I'm not bound to the devil. Even if the Lord doesn't get me through, I'm running to you for anything. And Whitney Houston has a song, "Who Will You Run To?" I'm running to Jesus all the way. And even if when I get to him, he doesn't give me oxygen to keep running, I'm okay because I made it. Even if he doesn't heal me, I'm okay because I'm finna be with him. Even if he doesn't give me the money, I'm okay because I'm still with him. That is the faith that we should have. Bartimaeus knew that faith. Bartimaeus showed that faith. There's a question that is asked right here in the life application. It says right here that it's, where is it? It says right here, which are you like, Bartimaeus or the disciples? Are you ready to throw off your cloak like Bartimaeus did? Because remember when Jesus said, "Come," Bartimaeus threw off everything to him. Are you ready to throw off your sins? Are you ready to throw off a lot of that stuff you used to do and run to Jesus? Are you like blind Bartimaeus? Or are you like the disciples, trying to do everything in your power to keep someone else from coming to the Lord? Don't have to answer. Just got it. It's back in the hands of our superintendent.
Let's get it back. It really makes a difference keeping the faith. All this, no matter what position you hold or what you find yourself in, we all deserve to look up. Okay, this time anyone got anything to say? Now, no. We can everyone reach out the envelope. We'll just bless the money.
All things come to thee, O Lord, and of thine own have we given on thee.
Just one announcement. When it comes to the reorganization of the Bible Discovery Hour, we're going to do it. I just don't know yet. We're probably going to do it in the organization of the church after I find out about the presiding elders organization meeting. So we have to figure out all of that, but just be prepared to come in and do some more, because we're going to do some more things with Bible Discovery Hour this year. You go ahead. You go ahead.
We, the church family, McChapel, would like to welcome you all back here today. We thank God for Jesus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you for being back. We love being back because we're back home.
Okay, this time everyone clear the controversy for this message.
I believe my AME Church School must grow and grow, and I must make it a top priority to make it so. Every member of Christian, every Christian work, every work of training, so the work need not be ashamed. This is asked in Jesus' name. We have come, we have studied, we have learned. So until our next time together to study God's word, may His rich blessing reside with you, and may His grace be eternally yours. Amen.